All right, guys, so thanks for being here tonight on Team Forever Strong's team call. It is February 25th, and we have a guest speaker tonight, Mr. Brad Bizjack. So I'm so excited for you guys to be able to hear from him tonight. Before I tell you a little bit about him, I just want to start off by just going over some recognition tonight, because I know we had a lot of rank advancements today in the team page that I am really excited about. So if you had any emeralds pop today, just unmute yourself and give them a shout out and congratulate them. I know I saw a couple.
To Jenny Breeding.
Awesome, congratulations. And who else?
Becky Powie.
Oh, that's awesome, congratulations. That's great, guys. Anybody else? Emeralds? Nope, okay. No rubies. I didn't see any rubies. Did I see any rubies in the team page today? I don't think so. Diamond coaches. I know we had a diamond coach. Is Courtney on? Otherwise, all right, so I'll shout out Amy. Amy became a diamond coach today, and her coach is Courtney Bordeaux, and they are just rocking it out. They are an awesome, incredible team. And so we're so proud of you, Amy. You're doing an unbelievable job. I know this is just the beginning for you. So we're so proud of you, and congratulations. And then I would also like to congratulate one of my coaches, Tina Stewart, for becoming a diamond coach today too. Yay! I'm so excited about that. She is one of the coaches that I have had where, you know, right from the beginning, she knew that this was going to happen. You know, like she said it, she put it out there into the atmosphere, and she said, I'm going to become a diamond coach. I know I'm going to, I want this. And she worked hard for it. She put the actions into place, and she's building her team. And she's really, really passionate about what she does because she believes in this so much. And that is why she is doing so incredible as a coach on this team. So great job, Tina. And I hope that you guys are celebrating tonight. That is a huge achievement. I also have a one-star diamond qualifying coach tonight, Courtney Bordeaux. She is a one-star qualifying tonight. So congratulations, Courtney. We're going to be cheering her on for the next 6 weeks. If you're a brand new coach, what this means is that she's a diamond coach, but now she also has a diamond coach below her. One of her coaches has become a diamond coach. So she is officially becoming a leader of leaders. And that is when you know you are getting serious in this business. So I'm so proud of her. Congratulations to everyone. All right, so we're going to just dive right into it now tonight. We have Brad Bizjack on the call tonight, and I am so appreciative, Brad, for you taking the time out of your night to speak to us so that you can give us some inspiration. If you guys don't follow Brad, you should definitely follow him. He's an awesome coach, really inspiring. He's so funny, and he's just real and down to earth. He's a 6-star combined diamond coach. He was a 2015 Premier coach. He was also in the 21-Day Fix and Insanity infomercials. He was in the 21-Day Fix test group. And actually, too, Brad, weren't you a free customer lead? Is that true?
Yep, I was a lead. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. See, guys, so you just never know what's going to happen with these free leads that you have. If you don't mind, just like really quick before you get going, like, how did that whole thing happen? Like with you, like being a free customer lead and then going into like becoming a coach. Were you like approached by it, or did you just decide that you wanted to do it?
I actually said no. I was that customer that was like, all right, I'm going to try Shakeology, but who the hell is this crazy lady messaging me? And Jessie Vandenberg is my upline. And she just, she kept reaching out, just offering to help. And over the course of time, just finally kept seeing her on Facebook and her life completely changing and her retiring her husband, Troy, and a lot of amazing stuff. And so finally I was like, all right, I got to get over my ego and reach out to her about this coaching thing. So I was a customer lead that took Shakeology religiously and then said no to coaching when she first asked me. So
that's awesome. Just pretty much like how we all start out. We always start out, all of us, saying no. So guys, you just never know, you know, who's going to be your next rock star coach. You know, you could get a free customer lead and they could turn out to be a Brad Bizjack. So stay in contact with them and don't give up on them. Brad does this full time, and tonight he is going to be talking to you guys about dropping your excuses and focusing on building your team. So I am really excited to have him here. Thank you so much again, Brad. This means so much to us. So whenever you're ready, you can just take it over, and we are ready to be inspired.
Woo! I'm excited. This is fun. This is really fun. I'm really proud to be here, and thank you so much for asking me, Kathy. I appreciate it, and I really do look up to you in a lot of ways. It's been so inspiring to see what you've done with your business, and guys, just before I really get started with this, can everyone just comment in the chat box real quick, just something that you're grateful for about what Kathy does? Because seriously, it is just watching her lead you guys has been so inspiring for me. And if you take a second and think about it, a lot of coaches don't have that resource, right? They don't have that upline that's there for them and truly pours themselves into helping their team. So just seriously, one of the amazing things about her is that every single time we've talked, she's always mentioning that she's looking for ways to help you guys achieve your goals. And I think that type of integrity in a coach is just, it's amazing. And so just really cool to know someone like that. So before we get started, just wanted to say that it's really cool to speak for someone that I look up to so much. And tonight, guys, is actually going to be a mindset call. I first kind of want to share my story a little bit and kind of show where I came from and maybe make myself a little bit more relatable. And then I'm going to kind of go into some skill sets and kind of mistakes that I made along the way, specifically focusing 2 years of my business only on retail and have this big perceived success in my business and actually have it be very, very small. And we'll talk on that in a little bit. But there's a lot of ways to go about doing this, guys. And you have the freedom to do whatever you want, right? Because it's your business, and that's the beauty of it. And you control the outcome of it. Think about that. Like, you literally control the life you lead, right? You control the action you take. You control this business. And Kathy, if there's ever a time you want me to hop back on and talk about the psychology behind taking action and stuff like that, I'm more than happy to. That's something that I'm super passionate about. But like, we control our actions, right? Which means that we control the result of this business. And so to kind of share my story with you, I grew up kind of a limited life. It wasn't a bad childhood. It wasn't something where, I was beaten or anything as a kid. There was no physical abuse, but there was always emotional abuse. And it was a financially limiting childhood. Money was always, always, always tight. It was paycheck to paycheck, and money doesn't grow on trees was the mentality in my household. And, my parents truly believed that their circumstance dictated the rest of their life. Because they didn't have money, they believed that was the reason they were kind of stuck in the spot they were in. And that kind of leaked into my mindset, right? I'm not saying this is the responsibility of a parent, but to kind of give you some perspective, there weren't any vacations. College was all on me. There was no cell phone, any of that stuff, right? And I came out of school with a crap load of debt, almost $100,000 of student loans when I graduated from University of Illinois back in 2011. So I'm kind of young. And in my childhood, there was always this constant fighting about money and work and other things with my parents. And it was back and forth. And it kind of taught me that I was limited to what I could achieve in my life based on my current circumstances. And it kind of taught me that the cards you were dealt is what you're stuck with. And so just imagine for 1 second being kind of an impressionable little kid, even a teenager, and have all that negativity and limitation being drilled into your mind every single day of your childhood life. You can imagine that when it comes time to actually do something about it as an adult, you're kind of stuck with that same limitation, right? And I saw my dad working so hard and seeing no return on all that hard work. And I still see it, right? There's no freedom of choice in his life whatsoever, in my entire family. And they're currently constrained by that mindset that is just the way it is. So when I came out of college, I came out just determined to make money. That was my goal, because I thought if I could make money, it would change everything, right? I was letting money be the circumstance that dictated my happiness, right? So I got a great job making a great salary, something that a lot of families would love to have coming out of school. And because I thought money would solve all my problems. So I worked hard to have that high salary. But something happened. Even though I was making money, I had nothing to show for it. Somehow all of that money would disappear and I'd wind up broke. And it was still paycheck to paycheck. Even though my income was higher, It was still paycheck to paycheck, too much month at the end of the money, right? And there I was looking in the mirror, seeing my parents looking back at me, right? That mindset on circumstance was inside me like a virus, just attacking every part of my body and my mind. And I was angry and I was miserable. And that job that would cure all my problems, right? It consumed my life. And I was in a role where I was working about 80 hours a week, 6 days a week with a long distance girlfriend and no money writing. Hey, Janice, can you turn it down a little bit, babe? Thanks. Love you. Sorry. And I had no money to my name, right? Just working 6 days a week, 80 hours a week, guys, 16-hour days. She loves to watch horror movies when I'm on team calls. I don't know why. If you guys go to my Facebook page from yesterday or the day before, I just got off a call and I recorded her reactions to a horror movie. It's actually pretty funny. You should go check it out. Not in the team call though. Anyways, so I was working all these hours, right? And basically my life at that time, this is 3 years ago, consisted of a whole lot of debt. There's a lot of emotional pain, a lot of confusion, and a huge lack of fulfillment, right? There was no impact I was making, throughout my entire life in sports, in high school band, and just in high school in general. I always thought that I was meant to do something of an impact, right? That kind of feeling of meant for more. But I had no idea what. And I knew that I would make a good living and support my family doing it, and I'd be influencing people. And working 80-hour weeks in fashion retail, and I have a reason for telling you guys this, working 80-hour weeks in fashion retail merchandising was not the answer for me. So I knew I was meant to do something different, but I had no idea how I was going to get there. I had no direction. And during that time at my job, when I was working those long weeks, you can imagine I gained some weight, and one day I noticed the buttons on my collared shirt were just kind of pulling a little bit too tight, right? I was sitting down and I kind of felt, my gut pinch against my belt and my buttons were pulling a little too tight. And I was like, you know what, that's enough. I had no energy. I had no passion behind my work. I had no fulfillment, just laziness, 30 pounds heavier and completely broke. So I searched online and I ended up purchasing this Shakeology or Shakeology or so. What is that stuff called? I purchased a bag of Shakeology and I saw some testimonials about it and I thought, what the hell? I'll give this overpriced protein shake a try. I'm hopeless at this point. And all of a sudden something happened when I stayed consistent with it for a couple of weeks. I started to notice myself waking up happier. I started to notice more energy. I started to notice my mood was lifted. I was more productive at work. I was telling people how great I was feeling. So I was, like Kathy said, I was a free customer lead given to my upline, Jessie Vandenberg. And little did I know that she was the woman that would change my entire life and still continues to change my life. I got off the call with her a couple hours ago, and every single talk is gold. And she introduced me to this business after taking Shakeology for a couple months, and I said no. And I said no for a lot of reasons. It's atypical, right? It's non-traditional. It's not status quo. I said no because my close friends and family didn't, believe in it. And even Janice didn't believe in it. They told me it was a poor idea, right? I said no because I was scared of success, right? I was scared of changing my life because I knew how to handle the stress of being unfulfilled. I knew how to handle paycheck to paycheck. That was normal for me. But any idea of more success was uncomfortable, right? And I kept seeing more and more of it around. And finally, one day, a few months later, I decided that I wanted my life to change more than I wanted it to stay the same. That was the decision, right? So I dove in, and with the help of my upline and some hard work, and our team has really turned into a movement just like yours has. And I made a choice when I dove in that I was going to change my future and live a life of significance and not be a victim to circumstance anymore. I was going to live my life. And what's funny is that I joined this for a business, right? But what I found was a community where it's okay to dream, right? It's okay to dream, where there isn't there's no limit on what your reality can be. It's the first time in my life where I realized that I could create something, and there was unconditional belief that you can do it, right? It was the first time that someone told me that I believe in you. And there was no but attached to the end, right? It was, I believe in you. You can do this. It was the first time in my life where I realized that just because I had a limiting childhood, it does not mean that I have the right to give my kids the same thing when I have kids. I don't have the right to give them the same thing. So I created something. And my coach told me at the beginning, the reason I tell you this story is because my coach told me at the beginning of my journey as a Beachbody coach, and what she told me changed everything for me. She told me, and I didn't listen to it, but eventually I did after 2 years, and things started to change. And that's what I'm going to talk to you guys about in a little bit. She told me that if I choose to stay consistent in this business with the right activities and bringing business partners on board over the course of a long period of time and being okay with delayed gratification, my life would be unusually successful. So she basically just told me the secret to the business right there. Invite people to the business and be okay waiting a little bit of time before stuff actually happens, right? And that's what I want to talk to you guys about tonight, because the principle of consistency with constant recruitment basically changed the course of my entire world. And I'll share some failures about that and the result of that principle of consistency at the end of this call. But I want to share with you first how your daily choices make an impact on your business. So how do you guys are probably wondering, how do you build this business, right? How many of you guys are wondering that? How do I build this? Anyone wondering how do I build this into something awesome, right? Guys, that's the wrong question to ask. And I want to call that out. That's the wrong question to ask. The most important part of this business is mindset. And I really hope you guys take this to heart, because in the beginning, the reason I'm talking about this now is because the skill set about constant recruitment I'm going to go about and teach you guys about in a little bit, it won't mean shit, excuse me, if you have kids around, unless you have the right mindset, right? So the most important part is mindset. And I really hope you guys take that to heart. Because when my coach told me this, I looked at her like she was crazy. Like, I don't need to read a book, But trust me, without proper mindset, there's no reason to apply the skills I'm going to teach you. I see a lot of new coaches coming in and wanting to know how, right? How do I do this? How do I do that? It doesn't matter. Every new coach on this call, there's one question that I want you guys to ask yourself if you're pursuing big goals with this business. And that question is, who do I have to become to achieve those goals? Who do I have to become to grow into my goals? So what does that mean, right? I misspoke in saying the how-tos don't matter. They matter, but they only matter when your mind is right on growing into the person to achieve your goals. So what does that mean? It means, what values do I need to have? What disciplines do I need to develop? How can I be the best possible person? How can I grow into my goals? Because when you focus only on the how, it's like chasing something that's running away from you. But when you're focused on growing yourself more than you're focused on growing your business, you will be unusually successful in your business, because success chases you. And that is a cool feeling. And I waited 2 years before I started applying the right mindset and getting that to happen. And the result of that, besides just this business, guys, is you become a better person. You become a better spouse, a better mom, a better dad, right? You respect people. You live a life of example that other people can follow, and consistently working on that will attract other people to you. So before you worry about the how-to, worry about the why. Worry about the emotion. Your leader, Kathy, right? She started with a purpose and a vision. Heather started with a purpose and a vision. I started with a purpose and a vision. My question to you is, do you know yours? Do you know why you're here? I'm sure there are a lot of new coaches, or maybe even prospects, or coaches that have been around a little bit, on this call tonight. Finding your purpose, that real emotional purpose, is something that's easily taken for granted. And there's a reason I'm talking about this now before talking about constant recruitment. It doesn't seem important when we're first starting out, right? When your coach asks you, what's your why? Because we're worried about the how, right? And I'm sure when you guys started off, part of your system is finding out the emotional reason why you're here. You've heard that. What's your why? Have a why that makes you cry. And because we're scared, and because this is new, something added onto our life, and because we've never really defined it, we end up setting a goal instead. And so I ask a lot of coaches what their why is. And time out, sip of wine. Ask a lot of new coaches what their why is. And their response is, I just want to help people. I want to earn a high six-figure income. I want to take a vacation. I want to retire my spouse. I want to leave my job, right? But guys, that's not your why. Think about that. Those are accomplishments you can achieve. Your why is a purpose you can fulfill, and someone can say after you die that that's what you were all about. Right? Those things aren't your why. That's a goal. Your why is the emotional attachment and the feeling that comes to life when those goals come true. It's the what would it feel like if? What would that do for your life and the lives of others? If you struggle with this, part of the growth that I've done to grow into my goals came from the book Flip the Switch by PJ McClure. That's an awesome book that will help you actually define your why. And just recently, to go even further than that, if you guys are willing to invest money in personal growth, the program The Ultimate Edge by Tony Robbins changed my entire life. I can't even begin to talk about how impactful that program was. I forgave my mom for the first time in 26 years. Forgave my mom. And I've never been more motivated in my life. And I finished that program months ago. So that is a great one if you're struggling with finding what your why really is. Anyway, so those will give you tangible ways to find what that purpose really is. And how we define it is really simple. But I wish I had time to go into that tonight, but we don't. But the point I'm trying to make is, once you have that real, deep, passionate, vulnerable, emotional reason why you are on this call right now, instead of watching Netflix, then you'll want to implement what I'm going to teach you as a skill set, and you won't lose motivation, right? Like we talked about, new coaches often want to know how before they know why. But if you take that path, what you'll notice is that when the hard times come, which they always will in this business, when the hard times come, it's very easy to cower and kind of run from this and continue living the status quo type of life we've been living. But if your why is clearly defined and you know it like that, all of a sudden failures turn into good things, right? And all of a sudden those failures turn into lessons we can learn. When you find the why, you light a fire, right? And when you light a fire, any obstacle that you face, even if it's a long period of time that you face it, like I did with not growing for 2 years in this business, you'll find a way to just get through it, because achieving and fulfilling that purpose is too important to let it go, right? A coach that knows their why. I would rather work with a brand new coach that knows the deep reason why they're here than a coach that has been around for 4 years and knows every how-to in this business but doesn't have passion behind it. I promise you, those principles that I'm going to share with you tonight will cover, it's more than just Beachbody. These are things that apply to your entire life and all aspects of your life. So write this one down, guys. When your purpose is deep enough, taking action becomes second nature. When your purpose is deep enough, taking action becomes second nature. There's a metaphor that I want you guys to hear about why your purpose needs to be clearly defined. And the metaphor is that your purpose, it's your internal guide, right? It's like a compass, right? And you're sailing a boat in the middle of the ocean. And when a storm comes, which it always will, means when crap happens, and it always will, and there's waves that are 50 feet high in every direction, and there's clouds blocking the sky, right? You can still steer the ship because you know where you're going, because you have that compass. And when the storm subsides, which it always does, you're still on course and further along in the journey. And in the meantime, all those people that set out without a compass or without defining their purpose either crash against the rocks or they're scrambling in a panic, trying to figure out where the heck they are. So we know the importance of finding your purpose. And I really want to talk to you guys some other time about the action, the mindset behind taking action on your dreams. But the question I want to ask you guys is, do you really know yours? Right? If you're thinking about joining this business and you're a prospect, why? What could this do for your life? If you're new and you're a brand new coach on this call, congratulations on getting on the team call and making that sacrifice. That's amazing. But why do you want to be here? Why are you on this call? What's the point? Right? If you've been here for a while, Kathy's been around for a while, same question. Why are you here? Right? If you're having trouble with that, work with your team, but don't do what I did for 2 years, a year and a half, and avoid this. Because think about it. Why do most people not define their why? Because it takes time, right? It takes going to places in your life that I'm pretty sure most people would want to block out from their life. It kind of brings up past pain points. Most people don't do it. It's non-conforming, but if you want to feel successful and be successful, don't do what everyone else does. Think about it, guys. Most coaches are not successful, right? The great percentage of coaches are not successful. Don't do what most coaches do. Do what Kathy does, right? She's successful. Do that. And it's scary to find your purpose. I remember having those exact same feelings of being terrified, right? And sometimes I don't know how sharing that story will go on calls like this, but that fear, right? That fear is that thing that stops us from pursuing our dreams. It's the thing that makes us think twice before we even consider trying. And we reject ourselves before we have the opportunity to be rejected. So write this thing down. My success partner, Colleen Curtis, talks about this all the time. Everything you ever want in life will always be on the other side of fear. Think about it. What's the alternative, right? We always say, I don't know if I'll be successful, so I don't want to try and fail. But guys, if you screw up, it means you got an education, right? You learned. It literally just means that you're finding the way that does work faster than someone that doesn't ever fail. If you're not failing, you're not trying. If you don't fail in this business, you are not playing big enough. And that's just not with this business. That's with everything in life, right? I'll give the example of one of the biggest mistakes that I made 2 really, really big mistakes for the first 2 years of coaching. One was relying solely on retail sales to build this business. And the second was relying on perceived success to attract people to this business. To kind of give you a little bit of background, I'm really good at selling challenge packs, right? That's one of my strengths. But at the end of the day, selling challenge packs is all fine and dandy, and it's short-term income, and it's trading your time for money, but it's not going to build a residual income that changes your entire life. The only thing that will do that is building a team and stepping out of your comfort zone and building a team. Because if you stay in that comfortable recruitment or a retail place, you're not going to be able to take those vacations because you'll need to sell challenge packs to make up for that income, right? If you stop selling challenge packs, the income goes away. But when you build a team, that's when you can, like I took a 3-week trip out to out west this past fall because of team cycle bonus and constant recruitment. And the second mistake that I made, and the reason I bring this up is because we're talking about failure. The second mistake I made was when I was in that 21-day fixed test group, I got a lot of recognition really early on, and people thought I was incredibly successful when I wasn't. And I hid behind that, and my team felt like I cared about myself more than I cared about them. And I learned the hard way that to be a great leader, help other people get to their goals, and yours will automatically just happen. I had mine at the forefront of my mind, and I wasn't caring about my team. So the point is, I learned something from those experiences, right? I failed. I got an education on how to become a great leader. I got an education on what will really build this business, and yeah, it was scary. I screwed up, right? And it felt uncomfortable, but think about that fear. What's really more scary to you guys? Think about this. What's the alternative? A, joining a business that will completely change your life, and taking those scary steps and inviting people to the business opportunity and working so incredibly hard to succeed at it and being around amazing people that want nothing but the best for you, where you're given the tools that you need to be successful and all the skills are learnable. Is that more scary, or is staying in the same place in your life more scary? Think about it. If you did nothing to change the course of your life right now, what will it look like in 1 year, in 5 years, in 10 years? Is inviting someone to the business opportunity really that scary? Or is staying in the same place in your life more scary? So think about it. I think the question you need to ask yourself is what if I succeed? How will that change my life, right? What if my purpose is fulfilled? What if I can retire my husband? What if I can travel without having to worry? What if I can change the lives of thousands of people? What if I can give my kids the future they deserve? What if I succeed? That is your new mentality. And that's consistently going to be your mentality throughout this journey. So let's dive into that consistency piece on constant recruitment. You know my story, and you know about finding your purpose, and you know about facing your fears. And you know what my coach told me that when I started, that changed my entire life when I decided to start listening 2 years later. And I'll repeat it again. She told me that if I choose to stay consistent in recruiting new people to the business opportunity while being okay with delayed gratification, my life would be unusually successful, right? So let's go into a little bit more on how that directly applies to our business, right? So we talked mindset. Now, how many of you guys have that situation? This is more the skill set piece. You guys have signed up that coach and you're really, really, really excited because they're all on board when they sign up, and then they just sit there and do nothing. Anybody? Or what about you're wondering, why isn't this person doing anything? I'm pouring myself into them and they're just sitting there. Anyone ever faced that one? Or you kind of feel like you're pushing a rope, or if I can just find a better Caleb Thomas video or find a video that Scotty Hobbs made and get them to watch these videos, I'll be successful, or they'll be successful at this, right? If I can just create a better training, they'll be successful at this. You're wasting your time. I did this for 24 months out of the 36 that I've been a coach, right? And my business did not grow. For a year, my business declined, right? It is not your job to babysit your coaches, guys. It is not your job to babysit your coaches. It is your job to find prospective talent, plug them into a duplicatable system that you already have, and give them the opportunity to succeed. Right? It's not your responsibility for them to become successful. You are not responsible for their growth. What I used to do is I used to go in spurts, right? I would spend months probably 2 or 3 months recruiting business partners and recruiting and recruiting and recruiting. And then I'd spend 3 months trying to create a better system and mobilizing all of them and getting them going and getting them excited and, trying to create a good Coach Basics and film new videos. And I was convincing them to get in these training groups. And I want to use that keyword convince, right? If you guys are finding that you're talking to your coaches and you're going, well, if you guys just get in this Coach Basics training and watch these videos and just go through the program. If you do that, I know you'll be successful. Just trust me. Just go through the Coach Basics. That is not worth your time, guys. That is not worth your time. I used to do that. I was convincing them. If you're finding that you're convincing people to be here, something's wrong. You should not be convincing people to be here. My coach told me this when I first started out, and it was slim pickings, right? I had Janice on my left because I was paying for her Shakeology in the beginning, and I had a couple people on my right, and that was it. I had 3 people, and I remember being in that situation when my coach told me, don't spend your time trying to get those 2 people successful. Spend your time recruiting other business partners, and you'll find people that will. And that is a huge point I want to talk to you guys about. But it was slim pickings, but I wish I would have listened to her, right? Because my business would be way bigger than it is now. So it's not your job to get your coaches to do something. It's your job to sort through the people and find someone that will. Think about it like a big funnel, right? You put people into this coaching funnel. Funnel goes down. Very few come out the bottom end. But the more people that you put into the funnel, the more likely you're going to have someone come out the bottom. So I have 7 or 8 points to help you guys with this. Some takeaways, some actionable items that can help you. Number 1 is understanding that the how-tos do not matter nearly as much as the why. They matter. You need to know how, but they're learnable skills, right? You can just Google it. Guys, if you don't know how to recruit a coach, be resourceful and Google it. Right? It is not Kathy's job to make sure that she spends all of her time teaching you how to recruit a coach. Be ambitious, be a business owner, and Google it, YouTube it, right? The how-tos don't matter nearly as much as the why when you're starting out a new coach, because the heart is what keeps people here, right? The motivation, the energy, the what would this do for their life, that's what keeps people here. And once you have that, then you can move on and work on giving them skill sets and giving them your experience and helping them to grow. Number 2 is don't enable your team. Oh my gosh, epic failure at this one. Seriously, when you want your team to succeed so bad, right? You pour yourself into giving them all the tools and resources, and when they ask you a question, you want to make sure to hop on that phone and answer right away so they can sell that challenge pack right away, right? That's what I did for 2 years. Don't enable your team. You did too? Don't enable your team. Seriously, it's so easy to give all the answers away. But think about what that's doing, guys. What's going to happen when it comes time for them to lead their team? They're going to need you to do it, right? You're not going to be empowered to lead, right? And so what I do now is I'll point my – Kathy's laughing because I bet she went through something like this. Is that right? Or is there a comment in there? But no, what I do now is I'll point my team to the FAQ, to Google, to YouTube. We have a hashtag on our team page, hashtag GTS. Google that shit, right? Just get them to Google it, right? The answer is out there. The skills to grow this business are learnable. So if you are a new coach and you don't have a market and you have 100 Facebook friends, or if you're a new coach and you're scared, or if you are a new coach and you don't know how to use social media, or if you're a new coach and you don't know how to recruit or invite, the answers are out there. They're out there. They are on Google and YouTube. Figure it out, right? So when you encourage it, and think about your time with your family. Why do we do this? Why do we do this with your business? To create freedom of time and choice in a lot of cases, right? That's one of our big motivations. Well, if you're spending all your time answering all these one-on-one questions, you are not honoring your priority of your family and giving them that freedom of time, right? You're not. So if someone is needing that answer, point them to a resource so they can study it themselves. So if people need to learn how to get really good on mindset, I'll point them to this, right? I'll point them to personal development. If people need to learn how to lead, I'll point them to this, right? If people are broke and aren't understanding the how much it's important to invest in yourself, I point them to this, right? Point them to a resource that you have used, so then your time is protected and they become more independent and will duplicate that down to their team, right? You don't want to spend all that time enabling them. Plus, what does this show you, right? The third vital behavior, that's another reason why the third vital behavior is so, I consider it the first vital behavior, is so incredibly important. Because without doing all that personal growth all the time and growing into your goals, how are you going to know what to recommend for someone else to grow? How can you expect to lead someone to grow into a person that can achieve something amazing if you are not willing to do your personal growth? And we'll talk about excuses more in a little bit, but point number 2 is don't enable your team. Number 3, this is a huge point. If there's one actionable, I guess this isn't actionable, but just philosophy on this that you can take away, it's this point today. And that is, this is numbers. Guys, this is a numbers game. Understand this, and I am not talking about discount coaches when I say this. I might go over the 9:30 mark. Is that bad? Will you guys kill me? Okay, I might go just like 5 minutes over. But it's a numbers game. One business partner out of 10 business partners that you sign up will actually run with this. Will actually turn this into a Star Diamond organization, right? I was on the phone with Melissa McAllister about a year ago, and I was really struggling. And I think I had 4 or 5 coaches that were hitting Success Club personally sponsored. And obviously I needed way more than that for Elite, right? And, I needed to boost that up. And she was nice enough to give me some of her time. And she said, how many coaches do you have that you signed up to do the business? I'm like, probably about 50. She's like, so I'm guessing you have 5 people that are doing anything, right? And I was just like, oh my gosh, this is numbers, right? So 1 out of 10 will actually do something. And think about this. If you spend your time consistently recruiting, that 1 out of 10 that you find, that 10%, you're not going to have to convince them. You're not going to have to, spend all that time trying to convince them to find the solution. They're going to come to you with solutions and ask what your guidance is on the best route to take. Those are going to be your Kathys, right? Those are going to be your Liz Hartkeys, your Keith Callahans, the people that are going to go for it. They're going to be the 1 out of 10. So would you rather recruit 10 and try to get all of them to be successful, or just keep on recruiting until you find people that will, right? It's a sorting hat. You just got to sort, and you only need 5 awesome rock stars to earn 6 figures in this business. It takes a hell of a long time to find those people, but doesn't that kind of ease some pressure when you know that you just have to keep on recruiting until you find those 5, right? So that's number 3. 1 out of 10 business partners are actually going to do this. Number 4, you need a system. And the best part is you have one. You have a leader producing system. So use it. Plug people into your system. You're not responsible for their success. You are responsible for giving them the opportunity to be successful by plugging them into a system. So use the system that you guys have in Team Forever Strong is your name, right? Use that system that you guys have. So number 5, this is where I really want to turn up the heat and just be straight up honest with you guys about leading by example. If you want to build a successful organization, don't do what I did for 2 years and not lead by example. You have to. Guys, Success Club is not an option. That is not something that you can try to do. Try is a buffer word for giving yourself a way out. I do not accept the word try, ever. Try is just an excuse. Success Club is the minimum of what you do, the bare minimum. And I know I'm being really direct and harsh, but it is guys, our job as a Beachbody coach is to help people achieve their goals and lead happy, healthy, more fulfilling lives. And we signed up to do that. And if we're not inviting people enough to hit Success Club, we're not spreading the word enough. And that means you signed up to do a job that you don't want to do, right? That doesn't make any sense. Success Club is the minimum of what you do, right? And I want you guys to think about this like the CEO of a multinational corporation. Let's use Ford, because Janice works for Ford. And let's say that Ford's mission is to help people achieve their goals and lead happier, healthier, more fulfilling lives. That's what Ford's mission is. Let's just say that that's what it is. And you have all this liability, this inventory, all these moving parts, all these teams, all these systems. And you walk into your board meeting on Monday morning, the first Monday of the month, and you see your numbers as stagnant or going down, which means not in Success Club, right? Or not doing anything, or barely skating by with Success Club or being inconsistent. And your numbers are stagnant or going down. Even though your mission is to help people achieve their goals and lead happier, healthier, more fulfilling lives, which is amazing, If you ran a traditional company, you wouldn't have a company very long to do that, right? You need to hit the minimum. Success Club is the minimum. And if you're not hitting Success Club, I'm sorry, I don't accept that. If you're not in Success Club, it means you didn't invite enough people. It means you didn't do the work to be in Success Club. It's not a matter of circumstance. It's not a matter of how many kids have soccer practice. It's not a matter of this. There are people that are exponentially busier and people that came from much worse situations that are hitting Success Club way out of the park. It's up here. It's your belief. It's what you know that you can do. And if you have it as a no matter what, not a try, not a hope, but an absolutely will, then you will be successful. Chelsea Pearson talked about something in the wall today that was amazing, talked about how Success Club is a sign of future success. That's huge. Hit Success Club. So I get really hyped up about that. The second thing with lead by example is recruiting business partners. Guys, if you want your team to recruit coaches and build a duplicatable business, you have to be recruiting coaches. You cannot expect your team. I was so guilty of this. I would get frustrated at where my coaches were in their business. And if I were to take a look at what I was doing at the time, my business wasn't growing. I wasn't adding coaches to my business, but I was expecting them to. Right? No, if you want your coaches to recruit business partners, you have to be recruiting business partners. Think about this. If you want your coaches to be healthy and happy and sharing their vulnerable struggles on social media, you better be doing your workout and drinking your Shakeology and not doing this right now. But anyways, no, like think about this, guys. Drinking your Shakeology and doing your workout, that is a business decision. Think about this, right? What attracts people to joining your challenge group? You sharing a struggle, overcoming that struggle with whatever product that you used. This is what I'm excited about, and these are my results. Who would like to join me on this journey that I'm on? So if that's how we help people with their fitness, by not using Shakeology and not using a fitness program and not following a meal plan, you are making a conscious business choice to not grow your business. That's like just something to think about. So if you're not doing the second vital behavior, you're not going to grow your business. It's a business decision. And finally is your personal growth. We talked about that earlier with these books. How are you going to recommend it? There's a reason why every top coach says it is a non-negotiable in your business to do personal development. It's not something that, I wish I had time to do it. It's something that you make time for, guys, because if you want to grow into your goals, you got to grow up here. It's all what goes on between your ears. This business is not difficult when it comes to the activities it takes to be successful. What is difficult, and which will take a lot of courage on your part, is what goes on between your ears. Growing into the person that can achieve those goals. So that's number 5, lead by example. A little bit of passion behind that one because I didn't do it for a long period of time, guys. Number 6, remove the emotional attachment to what a brand new coach does. This is hard, right? You have new coaches signing up and you believe in them and you want them to be successful so badly and you love them and you care about their goals and what they're doing. But what happens, guys, when you sign someone up and they disappear? If you are deeply, deeply committed to it being your responsibility for them being successful, when they sign up and they disappear, which will happen, you're going to feel that it's your fault and that you're a bad leader, which is not the case, guys. The reality is some don't stay. Some don't stay. I've had diamond coaches quit. I've had diamond coaches drop. I went to Summit as a 3-star diamond in 2014, and I finished, and in August of 2015, I went back down to diamond, right? People just leave, right? It's just the way it goes. So if you remove the emotional attachment to what a new coach does and still care about them and love them and support them and give them your tips, but if they disappear, you can just say, that's interesting, and move on, right? Now if someone said, and plus think about that, you're not convincing them to stay. They'll see you move on and go on this mission. They're more likely to come back, right? If you're not trying to convince them to stay. So if you remove the emotional attachment to what a new coach does, you will feel so much better in your recruiting, and you'll know that you're just sorting for that 1 out of 10, right? So remove the emotional attachment. Number 7 is working with the willing. And you know this one. You understand this one. You've heard this one. But I want to kind of give you kind of a metaphor that will help you understand how to find those people that you work with. And this is just going to show why you recruiting business partners every single day, not once a week, recruiting people and planting those seeds like Janelle talked about in the National Wake Up Call every single day is so important. How many of you guys have ever heard the audio, Jim Rohn's Building Your Network Marketing Business? If you guys haven't heard that, buy it. $4 or $6 or whatever it is. I've listened to that at least 100 times, and every time I come away with something new. And he talked about the law of sowing and reaping. And he talked about you're this farmer, right? And that's what we are in this business. We're farmers. And you have this amazing seed. And this seed is our world-class business that's the freaking best in the world, and world-class products that change people's lives. And that's your seed. And you're going out there in the field and you're sowing the seed, right? And you're planting these seeds. And you got your cart out there, and some of that seed falls out the cart, and the birds get it and they fly away with it. And the name of the audio is Jim Rohn's Building Your Network Marketing Business. And the birds fly away with it. And what a lot of coaches do, these are the people that, you talk about the business to, and then you're finding that you're having to convince them to watch the training videos or the new coach sneak peek videos, right? Or someone talk them out of it. And the birds fly away with the seed. So you have two options, right? You can either chase the birds, or you can keep planting the seed, right? Because what happens if you chase the birds and try to convince those people to come back? You leave the field. You leave the field. You're not in the field anymore. And then what happens, and then you keep sowing the seed. And sometimes the seed is going to land on thorny ground, right? And the thorns are going to strangle it to death. And those are your people that sign up and, they're your excuse makers. Oh, Game of Thrones was on tonight. I couldn't make the team call. Oh, I can't invest in Summit. It's not worth my money, right? Those people like that are not willing to grow their business, that make excuses, and they want the result but not the work, right? And you can either convince those people to stay and grow this, or you can keep sowing the seed. And then you're going to sow the seed again, and it's going to land on rocky ground, and where the soil is shallow, and the sun's going to fry it to death, right? And the first hot day, the plant withers and dies, right? Those are your people that sign up and realize, oh, this actually takes work. I'm out of here. And then they leave. You can either convince them to stay or keep sowing the seed. And then finally, it lands on great soil, right? And some of those seeds grow to 30% of their potential, some grow to 60, and some grow to 100s. And what a lot of coaches do is try to convince those 30%ers to grow to 100, when if they were to just keep on sowing the seed, they'd find more 100s. And that's why it's so important to consistently recruit every single freaking day, because 20% of the people that you sign up are going to do 80% of the work. And you have to go through, how do you get to that 100%? Besides just consistently recruiting, you have to go through all of those experiences. You have to go through every single one, and you have to be okay with it, knowing that, well, that's just interesting. I'm going to keep recruiting. Every single day you are recruiting. Think about it like a business career fair, right? Why do companies always come back to colleges every single fall and spring, recruiting new people out of their graduating classes? The reason is because, think about it, people leave, people transfer, people go to other jobs. It takes hiring a lot of people to find those very few that rise to the executive level of leadership that they want, right? That are lifers. Same thing with this business. If you stop recruiting, if you are not recruiting people every single day, your business isn't going to grow. You have to be recruiting every single day. So I've made the point very clear that 1 out of 10 is going to do this, right? 1 out of 10 business partners. I'm not talking discount coaches. 1 out of 10 business partners that you sign. How do you do it? Google it. Use the systems. Use the sneak peeks. Use the coach opportunity calls, the videos. There's ways to learn how to do this. So wouldn't it make sense just to keep on recruiting until you find the 1 out of 10 that will, right? So take a look at that. Take a look at what you're doing with that in your constant recruitment. And what I want to kind of close here in the last 10 minutes is really about the excuses we make when it comes to that, and getting through some mindset shifts on kind of the common fears behind this business. And I want to kind of call some people out right here. We're going to find out right now who are the people that want to change more than they want to stay the same. That was me a year ago. When I made that change, I was at the Men's Leadership Conference, and I was like, holy cow, like, I'm making excuses. I am not growing myself. I'm just basically pretending that I'm successful when I'm really not. I need to make a change. I decided I wanted to change more than I wanted to stay the same. Before I go into that, just understand that everyone grows at different rates, right? Everyone grows at different rates. Don't spend your time worrying or comparing yourself to how others are doing. Just do the absolute best that you can. I'll give myself as an example. Kathy started way after me. way after me. She's an elite coach, a 10-star diamond coach, and I'm not. Does that mean that I can't motivate and inspire people to become successful? No, it doesn't mean that, right? It doesn't mean I'm stopping. It doesn't mean I'm a bad coach. It means that I'm in a different situation with different people and, a different brand, right? It doesn't mean I'm a bad coach. Comparison is the thief of joy. It takes the fun out of what we do. If I was worried about comparing myself to Kathy's business or Bonnie Engle's business, who started after me as well, or Brittany Leggett, who started at the same time, or Colleen Curtis, who started after me. Every one of those people has a bigger business than I do. If I was worried about that, my focus goes away from helping people and puts it onto myself, right? It's an ego thing. It's the thief of joy. Some people sign up and they turn diamond in 2 weeks. Some people sign up and it takes them 3 years. Don't worry about what other people do. As long as you actually know in your heart when you go to bed that what you did that day is building your business and you are doing the absolute best that you possibly can, you are an amazing coach. You are an absolutely amazing coach. And don't ever let anyone take that away from you. Rank does not equal leader. Influence equals leader. You all have the ability right now to motivate and inspire someone to be better than they were yesterday, and that has absolutely nothing to do with that little rank that you see attached to your Team Beachbody online office. It has nothing to do with that. And if it did, I wouldn't be on this call, right? It doesn't mean that for you either. And I remember that feeling of being a new coach, right? And you feel like you're drinking out of a fire hose and you're listening to this crazy Brad guy talk way too fast. And there's all this information coming at you from all different angles. And you're trying to balance a family life and fun and an overtime or a full-time job. And it's scary as hell to take the lead, guys. It's scary, right? But I can promise you that if you take the lead starting right now, immediately lead yourself and your business right now, you will be so thankful that you did. And I want to go into a couple of things that hold a lot of coaches back from being successful. So I want you to ask yourself these questions and raise your hand. How many of you guys have ever been afraid of what people might think of you when you're posting on Facebook or when you invite them? Anyone ever thought that? That is so common. And I did too. But I'm going to be totally real with you right now and really try to think about this logically. When you focus on what other people think of you, you just took the focus completely off of helping them and put it completely onto yourself. You're not doing your job as a Beachbody coach if you're worried about what other people think of you. You're fueling your ego if you're worried about what other people are thinking of you. And here's the hard part. Here's the really hard part to grasp. People aren't thinking about you. That is so hard to hear, right? Because we want to be loved and cared about and feeling significant, right? But think about this. When Kathy shared her story and you saw her vulnerability and what she was going through, that picture she posted with her little kid about how 2 years ago she would have been, having to put them back in daycare, or I forgot what exactly the post was, and you saw that post and you saw what happened. You weren't thinking about her. You were thinking about you. And what would happen if you had that? People are thinking about themselves. We're naturally selfish beings, right? So when you see that vulnerable post, people aren't judging you or thinking about you. If you do it in a nice, tasteful way, they're thinking about themselves and are inspired by you. So that excuse no longer flies of what do people think of me? No, they're not thinking about you. They're thinking about themselves. And you have a responsibility as a Beachbody coach to help them think about themselves in their future. The second thing is, how many of you guys have ever been afraid to fail? What if I fail? What if I try and fail? Anyone? One of my mentors, Josh Spencer, told me this at the men's leadership retreat in Dallas last year. And he didn't say this to me, he told this to everyone. But he said, and I quote, "Your success in this business will be 100% dependent on your willingness to accept, welcome, and learn from constant failure, or you will never stand where I am right now." Whew, harsh, right? A little tough. Yeah, that hit me like a ton of bricks right in the face, right? You have to accept that right now, that if you are not willing to fail, you are not willing to build this business. If you're not willing to fail, you're never going to be able to deserve to grow to build this business. If you're not willing to fail, you're not going to grow into this person that's successful and thinks successful thoughts that can build this business. So you have to fail. Understand right now that every time you fail, it's practice. It's a relationship with practice. Every time someone says no, you are practicing for the person that says yes. Think about it like a server at a restaurant, right? and you're going around with a cup of coffee and you're asking people if they want coffee. It's the world's best coffee, and people say no at their table. They don't want coffee right now. That does not mean that you're a bad server. That just means that they don't want coffee, right? Same thing with this business. If you had a restaurant that you started for $500,000, but it was in the middle of the desert, you would go out there and recruit every single day, being okay with whatever failure you had to get people out to that desert to get your food, right? You'd find a way to make it happen. Same thing with this business. How many of you guys have ever been afraid that you don't know enough people? Anyone ever felt that way? I don't know enough people. My list is too small. I know I'm at the hour mark, but I'm trying to hurry here. But guys, the reality is you don't know who needs us. You don't know that customer lead that just needs someone to be persistent, like I was, right? You don't need that. You don't know if that woman on the park bench has high cholesterol, or that dude on the train has high blood pressure, or you don't know their history. You don't know their pain. You don't know their struggle. You don't know what they're going through. And I want you guys to think about this. How have these products influenced your life? How has this business influenced your life? Just actually picture it right now. Even if you're a new coach, how excited are you? Isn't it the first time you felt this excited about something in a long time, right? Or if you've been here a while, how has this business impacted your life? Has it changed your life financially? Has it changed your life physically? Think about that. Now ask yourself this question. Do you think that there are other people out there that are struggling in the same way that you were before you started this product or this business or Shakeology? The answer is always yes. There's always someone struggling with the same thing, right? Now, a third question. Imagine for a second that this was completely taken away from you. You're never allowed to take Shakeology again. No more 21-day fix. No more insanity. No more business. No more coaching. Just gone. Completely gone. You'd be crushed, right? How would you feel? You'd be absolutely crushed. Uncle Carl calls you up and he says, sorry, this is just done. Yeah, me too. Like this is just ridiculous. There's no way I'd be back to, my old habits again. But Uncle Carl calls you up, says no more Shakeology, no more 21-day fix, none of that, no more coaching, you're done. You have to quit. How would you feel? You guys, think about that. Think about how that feels. If we know other people struggle with the same thing we did, we don't have the right not to share this with people. If it's changed our life that much, people need you. And you are enough right now to change their life. So all of a sudden, your prospect list of 200 people, maybe 100 people, 50 people, just turned into 200 million people that are overweight or obese that need your help, not even including the 98% of this country that is broke. Think about that. All of those people need your help. We don't have the right to not share this with everyone. Every single person in this world can benefit from what we have. So every single person in this world is a prospect if you have the courage going on between your ears to share your story. Another reason why this is so important, because every person is a prospect. Your prospect list is never ending if you have the courage to share. And the last excuse is, how many of you guys have ever been afraid to attack this business head on and go all out with it because you have no idea how you're going to be able to balance it with a family life or a full-time or overtime job? Anyone? Ooh, me too. That's how I was too. How many of you guys have ever rationalized that as a great reason why you can't invite today, or a great reason why you can't be on the team call today, or a great reason why you can't invite coaches? Me too. I used to do that too. And I remember being absolutely terrified that I wasn't going to be able to grow this business because I was working so many hours in my full-time job. I was working 80 hours a week, 16-hour days. Janice and I were doing long distance, and I was broke as a joke. And I want to call out right now that it is the most illegitimate excuse that I will never accept. And if you want something, guys, that you've never had, you have to do something you've never done. You are adding something onto your life so you can take a lot away from your life. You have to be okay with that. You're adding something on, right? I was working 16-hour days the first year of coaching, working 80 hours. You can't tell me for 1 second that you don't have time. You do have time. You have very limited time, but successful coaches make time. They see the long-term possibility, and they make the short-term sacrifices to make it happen. So a common excuse I hear from people on my team is, I'm just going to wait until I finish this project at work, or when Johnny finishes soccer practice before stepping this up even more. I feel like I'll have a little bit more time then. No, guys, there's never going to be a good time to change your life. There's never going to be a good time. Something else will always come up. And I can guarantee you that there will never be a right time, but the time is going to pass anyways. So you have a choice. You can keep using it as a great reason why you can't be successful, or you can do what successful people do and see it as an opportunity and an obstacle that you're going to get through no matter what to change your future, regardless of the sacrifice. You're going to need to make a sacrifice. You just have to know that. This isn't something that you can just sign up and expect the result. You have to be willing to make sacrifices. I guarantee you Kathy made some with her family. You're adding something onto your life. It won't just happen. So when you make the decision and you're deciding to go for it or not, ask yourself one simple question. What if I told you that in 1 year from now, your life would be completely and totally different? Would you be willing to go all out with this for 1 year, focusing on constant recruitment, being okay with delayed gratification, having faith in the unknown and purpose at your back? Would you have enough belief to keep pushing? And what I'll close with, guys, is that something I learned at the Men's Leadership Conference that really hit me. And it's just the fact that, guys, there is an opportunity knocking on your door right now. And it is not going to be encased in something appealing. It is not going to be wrapped in something shiny. And it's going to be hard. It's not going to be convenient. But your gut says, I'm supposed to say yes to this. There's an opportunity here. I'm supposed to be here. But there's all these outside forces and other people telling you that this is a bad idea. And all these negative voices in your head that we haven't beaten with personal development yet. But there's this opportunity. And you can either take it all in or not take it at all. Halfway doesn't work. It's either yes or no. See, a lot of people want the result. They want the shiny things. They want the amazing stuff in their life. They want the Lexus to show up in their driveway. But are you willing to earn the rewards? Because you know what's not here every single day when you get up? This call. This call isn't here every morning. Your Facebook friends that love you and support you aren't there when you wake up and you focus on your mind, right? Your team isn't there right away in your mind, right? It's your relationship with practice and consistency when no one is watching that has gotten Kathy to where she is right now. That's gotten to me where I am. I get told all the time, Brad, you do a good job speaking, but it didn't used to be like that. Guys, when I first did team calls, I was stumbling and I forgot my own name, right? I practiced and I practiced and I practiced and I stayed consistent. Guys, when it comes to this business and you see these top leaders out there, you don't know their hours. You don't see their 5 a.m.s. You don't see their late nights. You don't see their hidden time. The question is, where the hell is yours? Where are your 5 a.m.s? Where are your sacrifices to be consistent to make this happen? There's an amazing, life-changing opportunity right now knocking on your door. We have the greatest business in the world with the greatest products in the world, and it doesn't happen when it's fun. It doesn't happen when you're on the Success Club cruise. It doesn't happen when you're at Super Saturday or Summit. It happens tomorrow morning and every other day when nobody is looking. It happens when there's an opportunity knocking on your door, and you don't have to carry the same standards, right? You don't have to set the same Success Club goals, but you do have to stand for something and set your own standard of excellence for yourself. Good enough isn't going to be good enough anymore. You aren't minimum people, so don't do the minimum that's asked. Go above and beyond, right? The minimum vital behaviors, 3 invites a day, 20 minutes of personal growth a day. Because you know what, guys? It's not about Kathy. It's not about me. It's not about Heather. It's not about Liz. It's not about Trey or Colleen or Keith or Bob. It's about you and your team. So when it comes to those vital behaviors and the personal development you do and the consistency in your workouts, don't give your family the minimum. Don't give your future the minimum. It's your turn to make this happen. We're doing it. We're going for it, but it's your turn and it's your choice. I believe wholeheartedly that this business is nothing more than a decision. That's all it is. It is a choice. So decide and do the stuff when no one's looking, and say yes when you get an opportunity. Because when opportunity knocks, it's too late to prepare. It's not convenient. And you are at a new starting line for the entire new year right now. And you're all excited and you're pumped up coming out of this call. But what's going to happen when things get hard? What are you going to do? You feel motivated right now. But tomorrow morning, this isn't going to be here. So when we leave here, set your standard, because you have a choice. Right now, you can either do what most people in this world do and shrink their dreams to the size of their income, or you can set your standard higher and go out there tomorrow morning when no one's watching you and it's no longer convenient and build your income to the size of your dreams. And the question is, what are you going to do about it? So Kathy, that's all I got. Sorry. And I'm still happy to take questions if you guys want to go a little bit longer, but
that was awesome. Oh my gosh, sorry, my whole computer froze up for just 1 second, and I thought I lost you, so I don't even know if you guys could hear me, but I went to go hit unmute, and then I was like, oh no. Oh my God, Brad, seriously, that was probably the most amazing call I think that we've had on Team Forever Strong. I'm not even joking you. Like, I was totally blown away, you know, like taking notes, and I know my team totally enjoyed this call too, and it really hit home for a lot of people. It was really just what we needed. And, you know, and I'm really glad that you touched on all that stuff, because, you know, I talk about that stuff all the time too a lot, but it's always so good to hear it from someone else besides the mama bear, you know. I just feel like sometimes, you know, when you hear it from other people, it tends to click versus like the mama. So you did such an awesome job. But what I really liked, like I was taking a bunch of notes, but some of like the key points that I took away from what Brad was saying was when he talked about how, like, you know, mindset is everything. And that's something I talk a lot about too. I just feel like really, like, that's 90% of the success in this business. It has to be, your mindset has to be set. Like, you have to know you're going to make this work. You have to believe in yourself and believe in this opportunity. And then not only that, but then you can go out and you have to follow it up every single day by putting in the daily actions. And of course, I loved how you talked about sacrifices, because you're not going to accomplish anything amazing with this business if you are still living the way that you did every day. You have to be willing to make sacrifices. And so it's true. Any coach that has had success in this business, like, they didn't just get there by doing the regular day-to-day things that they always did. They did it because they made sacrifices. And so this was an amazing call. I don't know if you have time for just like maybe 2 or 3 questions.
Of course. Yeah. Anything you guys need. I got nothing else going on tonight. So
awesome. Does anybody have anything that they wanted to ask to Brad? Now, you know, a big part too that he brought up was that he spent a lot of the beginning of his, you know, career as a coach just banging out the challenge packs. Okay. And so that's why he focused so much. And you'll always hear me say that too, that it has to be constant recruitment. Every single month, you have to be bringing in new coaches. It doesn't matter if you have 4 rock stars right now or 2 rock stars right now. You don't know if those people are going with you to the top, right? So you can't put all your eggs in one basket. And so, you know, he had to switch. He flipped that switch, you know, as time went on, and realized that, you know, this isn't going to lead to residual income. Like, you don't want to go out busting your ass every day, cranking out the high success club numbers for challenge pack sales. Like, you want to build a team. So does anybody have any questions for him about anything like that? Oh, it says, how is the best way to invite people to the business opportunity?
Fantastic question. And my first answer is that answer is on Google and YouTube. But like, that's like kind of one of those things, like there's so many answers out there, and you have to do the one that will click the most for you. But as far as what I do, there are, you know, a few ways that I am, kind of 3 ways that I go about it. The first is kind of direct invites to people, the standard forum and listen. And basically, guys, if you're, a lot of times people go through a conversation trying to like lead them to, you know, the point where they can invite them to something. When I go through a conversation, I'm having a conversation with someone, and I'm doing it like this is someone I really want to get to know. And I just treat it like a friendship. And when I go in with the intention of selling a challenge pack or signing a coach, I always feel scummy. But when I go in, and point 1 is forming, right? I go in and I'm just curious about them and wanting to be friends with them. What I'll find 99% of the time is there's a need there. And so you guys, you don't need to get to, I need to leave my job as soon as possible to invite them to the coaching opportunity. You can see that they're working a ton of hours and invite them because of that. You can see that they're struggling paying for their kids' hockey practice and invite them because of that. You know, so when I'll invite like a ridiculous amount of people to coaching. And the reason is because I'm just going out there and I'm trying to invite people and get to know them. So anytime you feel like this person would be a good coach, just have the courage to ask. If they say no, they just don't want the cup of coffee, right? So point 1 is forming and just regular inviting that you guys learned in the training academy, right? That's my least favorite way. I frankly hate doing it, but I do it every day. I don't find that fun. The second way is challenge groups. And when you're filling your challenge groups, obviously empower your challengers, right? Empower them to post, empower them to share their struggle and what they're going through and what they're overcoming. Drop little hints about how they're going to be a great coach one day. Reach out to them and let them know, hey, you're doing an amazing job. You've lost 3 pounds already. That's so fantastic. And by the way, side note, you don't have to wait until the end of the challenge to invite them to be a coach, right? You're doing such an amazing job. You're doing so great, and you're inspiring everyone in the group. You're posting on Facebook every single day. And, I don't know if this is for you or not, but have you ever considered becoming a coach like me? You're basically already doing it. You could just be getting paid right now. And they're like, huh. And so challenge groups is a big one. 70% of coaches were challengers first, and 70% of successful coaches were challengers first. And the third way is getting just real as you possibly can on Facebook and building your attraction marketing. And that's the fun one. That's the one that I absolutely love. You guys have to be okay sharing what is personal and what is uncomfortable to share. That if you want to share something that's going to get someone to join the business opportunity or be interested in the business opportunity, make it a post that you are terrified to do and literally have to close your eyes, press enter, and walk away. Those are the posts that will attract people. There's a great, in our men's leadership training thing, I'm big on this men's leadership thing. You obviously can tell we've talked about it a bunch of times. Patrick Reelman talked about something that was really great. And that's the elements of sharing your story. And when you can get really good at identifying who you're talking to and being vulnerable, but sharing it in a specific way. A lot of coaches make the mistake of talking about, this business is so amazing. It's helped me do X, Y, and Z and do this for my family. And it's amazing because we love it, right? And we're sharing the opportunity because it's so exciting. Or, I'm having this shake today and it tastes so good and it makes me feel awesome and I love everything about it, and you might not even be saying the product name, right? But that's great. But what you're missing is the struggle. If you want to relate to someone on Facebook and invite them on Facebook to join you, start by sharing your background and where you were before. Talk about the pain. Yes, exactly. Your message. Talk about the pain. Spend the most time in your post talking about the pain you went through. And then you talk about the solution and how you overcame it and invite someone to join you. When you do it that way, you're more relatable. If people see perfect, they're not going to want to be part of you, right? But if you talk about scary to share, they're like, oh, I can relate to that, because no one's perfect, right? And I am so guilty of this, guys. I'm not great at this by any means. This is something that I struggle with because I think this business is the best thing in the world. And I just want to share it and scream it from the mountaintop. But I always have to check myself and go back to where I was and share about where I was and what I've overcome. And when I do that, the traction is much better. So 3 ways: just basic invites, challenge groups, and posting on Facebook. But really, Google it. Google it. You will find so many amazing resources out there on Google.
Thank you so much. And I like too how you were saying, like, when you're reaching out and talking to people, I mean, if you feel like just, like icky, and if it feels forced, then you're probably not doing it right, because it's not supposed to feel that way. It's supposed to be natural, and you're supposed to be looking at it as you're building friendships with people, and really getting to know people. Like as if you were sitting in a college class for the first time and you're all sitting there in your seats and you're getting to know them and you're talking to them, That's how it should be when you're reaching out to people. Even when you're inviting them to to the challenge groups, it should be natural and flow with the conversation. And if they say no, you always continue it and you stay connected to that person and you talk to them about other things, regardless, not even about Beachbody, no matter what. You're forming friendships. But you do have to ask. I feel like a lot of times people struggle because they might talk to people and then they end it with like, hey, let me know if you want to join. And it's like, well, that's not really asking. Like you have to actually come out of your comfort zone and ask them, like, did you want to be part of this group with us that we have kicking off in a week, and actually put it out there.
Can I add to that, Kathy, real quick?
Yeah, sure.
Guys, if you are inviting someone and kind of the conversation becomes dead, or you're trying to get to a point where you're inviting them, just kind of as a side note, helpful tip, the words "let me know if" will never work. ever. If you're saying like, let me know if you're interested, or let me know if you'd like information, or let me know when you'd like to talk again, or let me know when you'd like to follow up, they will never get back to you. Have you ever considered are the magic words to this business. Have you ever considered? Let me know is, I shouldn't say it never works. It rarely works. Have you ever considered will actually get them to answer you? I don't know if you have a different experience with that, Kathy, but
I pretty much do the same thing, but I definitely, I end it always with like a question so that they have to respond. You know what I mean? Like I always say, you know, let me know if you want this last spot in my group, or let me know if you want to join us because the deadline is tonight. You know what I mean? So it always creates that sense of urgency where they feel like they have to respond back to me if they're, you know, interested in it. I don't just leave it hanging there, because then, you know, they never get back to you. They feel no need to respond to you.
Yeah. Like if you just leave it at let me know if you're interested, that's, yeah, they're going to have a hard time with that one.
Right. And I do say that, have you ever considered, I say that all the time when I'm reaching out to people about active coaching. I always say like, have you ever considered becoming a coach on the team? Like, I really think you'd be awesome at it. You're doing what I do anyways. So I say that all the time when I'm talking to people about coming onto the team as coaches. Does anybody have any?
Oop. I think you muted yourself.
I did. I'm all over the place. Does anybody have anything else before we let Brad go? I'm just looking at what Hillary said, like how she needed to hear this about worrying about what other people think. And it is like true. Like it's so hard, because that's honestly, like, that's how I've been my whole entire life. Believe it or not, I'm not kidding you. Like I have always been that person. I care way too much about what other people think about me. I don't want to upset anybody. I don't want to step on anybody's toes. I couldn't even make my own decisions. I'd have to ask other people, like, what do you think I should do? Or what should I say? Or how should I respond? I couldn't even be my own person because I didn't want them to think negatively against me, you know. But ever since doing this now, with all the personal development that I've been doing over the past 20 months, that, you know, I've learned like I can just be my own person, and I don't really care what anybody thinks about me anymore, because I'm on this mission to change lives and to help my family out and to help other people out. And people can think what they want, and people can come with me if they want, or they can decide not to. But the choice is theirs. Like, I'm going to continue doing my thing. And it does feel so freeing to be able to live every single day like that. And that's why I've really picked up my posts on social media. That's one of the main reasons why when I first started, I wasn't that consistent with posting for the first probably like, you know, I don't know, 3 to 5 months, because I was worried that people were going to think that I was annoying with my posts. And then finally I just hit a tipping point where I'm just like, I really don't care. They can unfriend me if they want to. Whatever. So, yeah. All right. Well, if nobody has any other questions, we will let you go. But Brad, this was, I'm not kidding you, like the best call I think I have heard. It was amazing. And we will definitely have you back so that you can talk about that other thing that you mentioned. I forget now.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I'd love to talk to you guys again. It's a more emotional call, so you guys might cry a little bit, but
that's good.
Yeah, I'll talk to you guys about that.
We'll bring our tissues.
And wine.
Yeah, and I'll have my wine that time. I won't be doing the ultimate reset. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much, Brad. And I'll make sure to get you the recording for this so that way you can have it. But thank you so much. And I will be seeing you next week then on your call. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much for having me tonight, guys. Truly appreciate your time. Everyone have a good night.
All right. Bye, everyone.